Revealed Secrets of a Cursed Caregiver. The Sinister Memoir of a Haunting Predator. CREEPYPASTA. Lisa never thought her life would take such a dark twist. In the quiet suburb of Cincinnati, smiles were plentiful and kids played freely until Karen showed up. She seemed sweet and competent, and Lisa, a 32-year-old single mother, was desperate. Her father, Hank, was fading away due to dementia, and she needed help. But what Lisa didn't know was that Karen had a sinister attachment to the shadows of the past. A chill gripped Lisa's heart when her father began to speak of the shadow watching him at night, an all-too-real specter lurking in the corners of their cozy home. At first, the transition was seamless. Neighbors waved, everything felt normal. But as the days passed, a creeping unease slithered into Lisa's bones. Karen seemed to know things about Lisa's family secrets that sent shivers down her spine. It was unsettling, her soothing voice dripped with familiarity, as if she belonged to some twisted reality only she could see. Each evening, Lisa felt the darkness around her tightening its grip, her father's fragile recollections clawing at her sanity. Then the whispers began. At PTA meetings, mothers exchanged furtive glances, their expressions heavy with disquiet. Conversation stopped when Lisa walked in. The neighborhood gossiped about Karen's fascination with the elderly, hinting at a dark legend woven through their town's history. As spring bloomed, dread festered. People murmured of a guardian that thrived in shadows, feeding off fear. A chill always followed Lisa, a curtain of anxiety hanging as she found herself relying on Karen more than she ever expected. One rain-soaked evening, Lisa jolted when she discovered her father was missing. Panic seized her as she dashed through their home. Desperate calls searching for him echoed back in the eerie silence. The warm lights suddenly felt like a mockery of her dread. And then she saw Karen. Calm, almost unnervingly placid. "He's just taking an evening stroll," Karen said with an unsettling grin. But something about her eyes chilled Lisa to the bone, annulling the idea of reassurance. "The shadows, they whisper," Hank had once said. Lisa had brushed it off, but now it felt harrowing. A shadow lived in their home, lurking beside the well-lit rooms. Confronting Karen, Lisa's heart raced. She was not merely facing a caregiver but an embodiment of forgotten family secrets, woven deep in the folklore of their town. Realization washed over her, chilling her more than the rain outside. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With darkness closing in, Lisa's resolve began to crack. She understood that she was caught in a horrific trap. Time was running out. Each tick of the clock felt like claws on her skin, pricking her consciousness. Karen was more than a caregiver, she was now an enforcer of nightmares, feeding on desperation, intent twisted by sinister motives. The false sense of security shattered as Lisa realized she was not merely fighting for her father's fading memory but for her very soul against a shadow that wouldn't recede. Just as she summoned the courage to confront the truth, the shadows quivered around her, and she heard it, a soft whisper creeping through the air, "I'm still watching." With every heartbeat, the horrifying reality deepened, pulling her ever closer to an abyss of madness, leaving her gasping for a way out. Lisa's breath quickened as the shadow clung to her, wrapping around her like a suffocating shroud. She was adrift in a sea of darkness, the whispers resonating like a cacophony of spirits haunting her ears. Panic surged through her veins. What was happening to her father? Where could he possibly be? Karen's smile lingered in her mind, an image stuck like a thorn, taunting her as she clawed through the heavy air. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself, desperation slipping into her words. She had to find Hank. She had to confront Karen. Yet every shadow she passed felt alive, an extension of the malevolence creeping through her home. As she stepped into the hallway, a flickering light overhead cast erratic shapes on the walls. One moment the familiar seemed comforting, and the next, it warped into something grotesque and unnatural. "Dad?" she called out, her voice barely rising above a whisper. The house responded with oppressive silence, saturating her with fear. Suddenly, a door creaked further down the corridor, seizing her attention. She felt an inexplicable pull towards it, each step feeling heavier than the last as the sense of dread multiplied. As she approached the closed door, she hesitated, her heart pounding erratically in her chest. The door stood slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness peeking through. Memories surged. Hank had warned her about the shadow, the lurking thing that thrived on fear. The very essence of her father's warning reverberated in her mind. Was it Karen? Or something far worse? With trembling hands, Lisa pushed the door open. The room lay shrouded in shadow. Moonlight pooled into the space, casting a ghastly glow that highlighted the contours of discarded furniture. The once cheerful family photographs on the walls now seemed to leer at her with twisted smiles. A chill crept down her spine, the echo of her father's whispers filling her head. "It waits for you." "Dad?" she cried out again, this time more desperate. Shadows tugged at her, an unyielding weight urging her to flee. But she couldn't. Something tethered her here, a primal instinct to protect, to find him. Suddenly she spotted movement in the corner of the room. Her breath hitched as she squinted, realizing it was a figure huddled on the floor. She rushed forward, hope blossoming only to be crushed as she discerned who it was. Karen sat with her back to Lisa, a glimmering object flashing in her hand. The caregiver's voice slithered through the darkness. "He's just fine, dear. Just a little sleepy." "Get away from him!" Lisa screamed, panic igniting every nerve in her body. Rage coursed through her as she tried to shove Karen aside. But Karen turned sharply, a glint of something sinister in her eyes that froze Lisa in place. "You really don't know anything, do you?" The weight of Karen's words felt like a physical blow. "What did you do?" Lisa demanded, the shadows warping closer around her, a fierce tempest of dread brewing in the air. "Just helping him find peace," Karen replied, her tone delightfully playful yet deeply unsettling. "After all, you should learn that some memories are meant to be forgotten." Lisa's heart sank as realization dawned. Karen had become the architect of her father's fading sanity. Every moment Lisa allowed her to stay, every hesitation, trapped them deeper in the darkness. The silence that followed was suffocating, a quiet abyss where hope flickered and died. And then, from the far corner, Hank's voice interjected, weak and tremulous, "Lisa, help me." Terror rippled through Lisa as she turned toward the sound, but the shadows surged, twisting and beckoning, the room spiraling out of control. "No!" she shouted, but she felt her strength draining, pulled toward an unknowable fate. Staggering back, Lisa knew she had to act. If she didn't, what awaited her beyond those shadows would consume everyone she loved. With determination igniting a fragile light within, she stepped forward. The walls shook with whispers, "You can't escape." In that moment, as darkness engulfed her, she vowed not to give in. But the question loomed, would she uncover the truth before it was too late? The shadows thickened, the air crackling with hidden horrors. Something was about to break. And whatever it was would change everything. As the night deepened, she whispered into the gloom, "I will find you, Dad. I will end this." The shadows writhed, closing in like a pack of wolves, their whispers an endless chant echoing Lisa's fears. Each footfall felt like a betrayal, tugging her closer to the precipice where nightmares lurked and sanity faded. Karen's laughter bounced off the walls, a chilling melody that twisted in the air. "No!" Lisa screamed, her voice slicing through the oppressive darkness. The room seemed to tremble at her defiance. She pushed forward, driven by desperation, desperate to reach her father, to pull him back from the edge of oblivion. "Stay away from him!" Lisa cried again, adrenaline flooding her veins, igniting a raw strength she didn't know she possessed. She lunged at Karen, but the caregiver was quick, evading her grasp with an unsettling grace. "Do you really think you can save him?" Karen sneered, eyes narrowing, that glimmering object still clutched in her hand. "He has too far gone, my dear. He has already forgotten you." The words struck Lisa like a blow. "Forgotten? No. She wouldn't let that happen. The memories they shared were too precious, too significant to be erased. Let him go! The fury surged within her, an inferno threatening to engulf the shadows. You don't know what you're doing! She edged closer, summoning every ounce of bravery. Karen took a step back, her smile faltering for the first time. You think you're brave? It isn't bravery that kept him here. It's fear that binds you both. Fear of the shadows. Fear of what you may uncover. Lisa's blood ran cold as a chilling thought penetrated the haze of her rage. What had Karen meant? In that heartbeat, the shadows seemed to retract slightly as if sensing her wavering resolve. She seized the moment, rushing toward her father, but Karen interjected, raising the object in her hand, a small, ornate key glinting in the pale moonlight. This? Oh, Lisa, it's the key to all your father's fading memories. You really want to jump into that abyss? A freezing grip clutched Lisa's heart at the implication. She had to confront the specters of their past? To relive the moments that had torn them apart? It felt cruel, even for a figure like Karen. Why are you doing this? Lisa demanded, confusion rippling through her. What do you want from him? Karen placed her hand delicately on her heart. From him? Nothing. But you're the one I'm interested in. Your fear, your doubts. They're delicious. Terror twisted inside Lisa's stomach. This was more than a confrontation. This was an entrapment. Listen to me, she shouted, her voice trembling. You can't keep him here. The darkness doesn't own him. Behind her, she heard a deep groan, and her father's voice broke through the haze, weaker now. Lisa, please! The shadows surged, pushing back against her, as if they were alive. They whispered vile secrets, taunts about how love was not enough to save someone tethered to darkness. Lisa gritted her teeth and fought through the encroaching shadows, moving closer to where her father sat, his frail figure shivering in the gloom. Dad! I'm here! Just hold on! Karen's laughter echoed as shadows tightened their grip, clawing at Lisa's resolve. She could feel the cold seep into her bones. The door she'd just stepped through now felt like a prison, reinforcing all her fears. But within that impending void of despair, something shifted in the air. A flicker of light appeared, a beacon of hope radiating from somewhere deep within her heart. Let him go, Karen, Lisa urged, the remnants of her courage igniting. We are stronger than this darkness. You don't have to do his bidding. The shadows flared, shrieking incoherently as if disturbed, becoming more aggressive. You don't know what you're provoking, Karen warned, her voice low and menacing. Lisa braced herself, determination coursing through her. She was no longer just fighting for herself, she was fighting for Hank, for their memories. The threatening weight of darkness began to waver. Let us expose the truth, she shouted into the oppressive night. Let us break the hold you have on him. In that moment, the shadows screamed, bursting forth in a violent explosion of rage and despair, and for the first time, Lisa felt in control. Something had shifted. But as the chaos swirled around her, one question lingered heavy in the air. Would the truth be enough to break the curse, or would it lead them deeper into the abyss? The cacophony overwhelmed Lisa. The shadows howled, a feral sound that chilled her blood. She felt the ground literally shift beneath her feet, the very foundation of her reality trembling. Fear surged, a raw pulse echoing throughout her body. She couldn't allow herself to falter now. The light within her flickered, sputtering against the encroaching blackness. Close your eyes, she shouted to her father, hoping against hope that he could still hear her through the fog of despair. Pretend it's just a nightmare. We'll wake up, I promise. But as Karen's laughter ricocheted through the room, doubt seeped into her bravado. You think you can fight me, dear? Karen taunted, her voice dripping with malice. I know your every move. Your every fear. You're a lost little girl playing in a sandbox, and I'm the monster lurking beneath. Lisa's heart raced as she faced the daunting truth. The things that haunted her father had shaped her own childhood. Thoughts of the past flooded her mind, the night after night of shadows lurking, the whispers that haunted their home, the way her father would wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, forcing her to hold on tight to a fading memory of safety. The ornate key shimmered in Karen's hand, casting dark reflections against the walls. With every chuckle, an unseen force pushed Lisa back, the shadows inching closer, their clammy tendrils brushing against her, chilling her skin. "What if I show you?" Karen hissed, her eyes glinting with something malevolent. "What if I unlock these memories? Will you still fight?" "No!" Lisa yelled, shaking her head furiously. "Whatever you show me, I won't let it control me." But even she wasn't convinced. Memories that had been buried, horrid visions of the past, surfaced like rotting corpses clawing their way back into the light. In a desperate grab for time, Lisa lunged toward her father, hoping that the connection between them was enough to break through the shadows. "I'm here, Dad. Remember who you are." The groaning grew deeper, more sorrowful. "Lisa," he murmured, but his voice was an echo, distant and fading. The shadows shuddered pulse by pulse, as if responding to her emotional cry. "Listen to him!" Karen screamed, clenching the key tightly. "Listen to what he's made of. You think he's strong enough to pull you both out? He's weak. Just like you." Lisa felt a surge of vulnerability. Karen's words sliced deep, causing her to momentarily waver. Could she really bear the burden of the truth? And then, darkness enveloped her, cold, suffocating. She gasped, the realization dawning with terrifying clarity. Karen wasn't just a caretaker, she was the specter of their pain, the manifestation of all their fears brought to life. Suddenly, the shadows roared with fury, swirling wildly. Lisa felt herself being swept up into the maelstrom, thrust into a vision more vivid and poignant than any memory. It was her childhood home, the smell of decay thick, everything distorted by pain. Her father stood there, his back turned, trembling in the parent-child role she once revered. "No!" Lisa shouted, trying to pull away, but the vision held her firm, dragging her deeper into the memories. She could feel the anguish seeping from their past. It was cutting, like a knife twisting inside her. "Embrace it!" Karen yelled, grinning wickedly. "This is the truth." Something inside Lisa ignited, a flicker of defiance. "I won't be your puppet." As tension thickened, a surge of warmth radiated from her chest. Clenching her fists, Lisa drew on the love that had once flourished, channeling it into her voice. "I choose to break free." The shadows screamed, an ear-piercing wail that echoed through the room, and for a moment, the darkness quivered. But was it enough? Would the strength of her love pull them from the brink, or would they be swallowed whole? Questions swirled around her. The air tightened, and in that split second she could only wonder what other secrets lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. Lisa's heart pounded as shadows writhed around her, pulsing like a living creature. She focused on the warmth in her chest, the love for her father igniting against the cold, bitter darkness. She could feel the shadows pulling at her, but she refused to be swallowed. "I'm not afraid," she shouted, the words tumbling out like a shield against the rising tide of fear. The room trembled. Pictures on the wall rattled, the memories distorted into something grotesque, faces twisted in silent screams. Karen stood in the center of it all, her laughter bouncing off the walls, an eerie melody undercutting Lisa's defiance. "Love is weak, darling. It's a flicker in a storm," she said, a smirk on her face. With every breath, time seemed to distort. Images flickered in and out, her father, younger and vibrant, then fading into a ghost of himself. "Dad!" Lisa cried, her voice breaking. "Fight her. We can do this together." But as the shadows surged forward, she realized her father was slipping deeper into the abyss. "Lisa," he murmured, a whisper lost in the gale of shadows. Something within her twisted. How could she bring him back if Karen held the key to his sorrow? The echoes of his pain sang like a haunting lullaby, and doubts began to claw at her resolve. "Let the memories come," Karen taunted. "Remember everything. All your guilt, all your secrets. It's a tapestry of despair you can't escape." Lisa's vision blurred. She saw flashes of their home, distant laughter morphing into cries, happy family dinners turning into silent stares, The haunted nights where her father sat in the dark, voice trembling, weaving tales of monsters that never left. The walls were closing in, pushing her toward a spiraling void where all her fears resided. "Stop it!" Lisa screamed, grounding herself. "You are not in control of this. You're just a piece of my past. I can rewrite it." A tremor shook the floor beneath her feet, but with every pulse, the warmth in her heart grew stronger. She remembered the stories her father told of bravery, of love as an unyielding force. "You don't get to own me or my memories!" The shadows hissed, recoiling as if her words struck a nerve. For an instant, silence blanketed the chaos, the air thick. Lisa closed her eyes, focusing. She envisioned a golden light, bright and pure, pushing against the dark, creeping closer. She envisioned her father smiling, free from chains, standing steadfast beside her. "Come on, Dad! We're in this together," she urged, straining to break the chains of despair binding them both. Suddenly, the majesty of that golden light exploded, bathing the room in warmth, searing through the shadows like a bolt of lightning. Lisa felt her father's presence surge next to her, his hand finding hers, squeezing tight. "I'm here, Lisa," he breathed, and the shadows shrieked in rage. Karen screeched, the sound ricocheting, distorting. "No! You won't escape! I have the shadows in me, and they will swallow you whole!" But as the light expanded, darkness receded. The grotesque forms shifted, faltering, twisting into shapes that no longer made sense. Fear turned into vulnerability, and for a moment, Lisa saw Karen as a shadow of her own fears. "Let go of the pain," she urged. "You can be free too." Karen faltered, eyes flickering. "I am your fear," she spat, desperation creeping into her voice as she lashed out, shadows writhing around her. "Not anymore!" Lisa shouted, the golden light flaring up, ready to engulf them. But as the shadows pulsated, a chilling realization hit her. What if Karen wasn't the only one with secrets? What if Lisa's own memories held a darkness she hadn't yet faced? With a gut-wrenching twist of dread, she thought, was there more hidden in the darkness than she'd ever known? The shadows hissed, and just as the light threatened to crush the darkness, something inside the void stirred. A deep, cold whisper began to echo, "You can never escape who you truly are." The impending revelation loomed heavy in the air, and Lisa knew she was on the brink of uncovering something monumental. What depths of terror awaited her? The golden light pulsed, battling the shadows that clawed at it. Yet, as it shone brighter, a chilling sensation crept through Lisa's veins. She felt a tremor ripple through the room. It was as if the very walls were whispering secrets, stories hidden in the cracks, waiting to flood her mind. Lisa's heart raced. "Dad, I can feel it," she gasped, eyes wide. "Something is here, something I haven't faced." Her father's grip tightened, but his expression mirrored her fear. "You need to resist," he urged, voice strained. Shadows writhed, and Karen's laughter echoed angrily. "How poetic," she sneered. "What could be more fitting than a reunion with your own despair? After all, I'm just a reflection of what you've tried so hard to forget." As Lisa glanced at Karen, her features twisted, morphing into haunting images from her childhood, a babysitter's gleeful smile that quickly turned into a smirk of malevolence, a once happy birthday party turned nightmarish as shadows danced around an open closet. Memories pulled at her ankles, dragging her back, enticing her to sink into the past. "Stop it!" yelled Lisa. "You don't own my memories. I can reclaim them." But Karen wasn't finished. "Oh, sweet Lisa. Do you truly believe that?" she taunted, the shadows whispering her father's darkest moments into a cacophony of pain. "Would you dare to look at what you've buried deep? The truth you'd rather ignore?" With every word, Lisa's past came rushing forth, a faded memory of a nighttime scream, a distant shadow lingering too long. Faces morphed in her mind, friends who seemed jovial, yet their eyes betrayed a sense of dread. Suddenly, the years of forced laughter flashed in vivid colors, evoking a sense of raw terror. The hollow silence of taped-up mouths, the clutches of fear, it all danced before her. "Are those really your cherished memories?" Karen's voice slithered in, dripping with malice. Or were they just a smokescreen for the darkness lurking behind? There it was, a sharp pain stung at her center. She could see it now, her comfort, her family, all rooted in something awful, something unspeakable. The shadows pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, reminding her. Guilt clawed higher. She had seen the signs but had chosen to look away. No! Lisa gasped, summoning a shield of light around her. I want to succumb. I'll rewrite this story. But even as she grasped for control, the floor beneath her warbled, swaying like a stormy sea. It was happening again. The memories, the fears, they merged into one fluid entity, captivating and terrifying. Let go! Cried her father, panic blooming in his voice. Face it, Lisa. Only then can we escape. Every scream, every shadow seemed to press against her chest. Lisa wanted to scream, to tear apart the fear, but a whisper coaxed her back. What if you can't run from this part of yourself? The shadows began to engulf the light, creeping further, enticing her thoughts to coil back. In that suffocating darkness, she felt her father's hand slip from hers. Dad? The shadows twisted, reality bending. Was this grim fate calling her to confront a revelation? Her dread swelled, battling her courage. Lisa, there is something you don't yet remember. Her father's voice reached from the depths, filled with a desperate urgency. What is happening? She gasped, feeling the room constricting. The edges blurred as shadows pressed in, a flood she couldn't contain. There's a truth in your heart. But the words faded, swallowed by an uproar of darkness. With a final hollow laugh, Karen's form shifted, losing definition, becoming a monstrosity dancing in the swirling abyss around Lisa, ready to consume her whole. Face me! Karen roared, her laughter echoing like shattered glass. Face her? Lisa thought, fear gripping her. But at what cost? The ground lurched, shadows pulsating wildly around her, and she realized this was a battle, not just for survival, but a deeper struggle to reclaim her very essence. What would she find when she finally turned to face it? The darkness danced and beckoned. And the chilling question lingered in the air, was the truth worth unearthing? What horror lay waiting in the folds of her own heart? As the shadows loomed, twisting into grotesque shapes, Lisa felt an icy grip around her throat. The air thickened, suffocating and heavy with dread as the darkness began to whisper secrets only she could hear. The fear swelled in her chest, an invisible hand squeezing tightly. Clawing back from the brink, she clenched her fists and stood her ground against the monstrous figure of Karen, still laughing, still taunting. What are you afraid of, Lisa? Karen taunted, her voice now a symphony of eerie echoes that reverberated through the walls. Each word carried the weight of lives long lost, whispered sorrows trapped in this cursed space. Look around you! This is your legacy whether you like it or not. Shut up! Lisa screamed, but the sound felt hollow in the oppressive air, a mere breath against the raging storm. Yet, deep within, a flicker of defiance ignited. Your father is lost, Lisa. The shadows coiled around Karen, emphasizing her every word. He is just another reflection of the void you've created. You think you can save him? You can't even save yourself. In that moment, the connection to her father surged through her. She could almost feel him reaching out, struggling in the unseen embrace of the abyss. Panic surged. She took a step toward where she felt his presence, desperate to reclaim their bond. Let him go! Lisa pleaded, but the echo bounced back with mockery. A blinding pulse of gold light enveloped her, almost as if it could purge this evil from existence, but the shadows jumped in frenzy, distorting the light, twisting it into dark, chilling tendrils. Do you really think that light can save you? Karen hissed, her form contorting into nightmarish dimensions. Your light is fragile, just like you. It can't banish what you refuse to confront. Lisa stumbled back, the shadows swirling like a tempest around her feet. It seemed impossible to stand firm, yet the pulsing gold light urged her on. She could feel the shadows breaking apart her memories, pieces of joy marred by the weight of dread. Each fragment of laughter mixed with tears, every bright moment tainted by darkness. Face it. Face the truth. Her father's voice cut through the shrieks, anchoring her spirit. She squeezed her eyes shut, and a solitary tear carved its path down her cheek, crystallizing her resolve. Could she find freedom and acceptance? Would the truth heal or destroy? Lisa took a deep breath and whispered, "I will remember." All at once, the screams faded, and silence descended. The shadows paused, almost in disbelief. In that pause, fragments of memories formed around her, a kaleidoscope of her childhood. She glimpsed every fear hidden beneath the carpet, every moment she locked away in the back of her mind. "See? They are all there," Karen's voice twisted once more, now more frantic, more unstable. "You can't hide from this. It'll swallow you whole." The memories became sharper. It was the scene of the birthday party from long ago, the moment the lights flickered out, the fear in her friend's eyes, the looming figure that had watched from the corner. Her heart pounded in recognition. "No more!" Lisa shouted, a newfound strength bolstering her resolve as she stepped forward. Her memories intertwined with courage, igniting the light at her core. "I reclaim my past. I won't let you take them." As her words echoed into the void, the shadows surged, but instead of retreating, they writhed in anger. "No! You won't escape me!" Karen screeched, her laughter morphing into a shrill wail that pierced through Lisa's soul. But Lisa felt the light within her blaze brighter, amplifying with each confession. "I am stronger than you." With that, she took another step, her foot striking the ground. It felt solid beneath her once more, and as she pressed forward, the shadows began to fracture. The wail rose, echoing through the room, shaking the very walls. Was she breaking free? Or was she just awakening a deeper horror? As the howls crescendoed, an unsettling silence fell over the childlike laughter that once filled her memories. Around her, shadows crackled, bleeding darkness into light. Every heartbeat pulsed with desperation. And then the room trembled as an ominous rift opened, beckoning her toward the core of her fears. It pulsed brightly, waiting to be faced. "Will you step inside?" Karen's voice faded, fear now threading into her tone. "What will you find in the dark?" Lisa's breath caught. An abyss lay ahead, a realm of things better left buried, flipped like a coin, the promise of truth, or the torment of eternal darkness. What awaited her on the other side? The rift flickered with an unsettling glow, pulsating like a heartbeat quickening with dread, and Lisa found herself teetering on the brink. A chill clawed at her spine, urging her to pull back, to flee, but the fading echoes of her father's voice stirred an undeniable need to confront the horrors. She took a deep breath, every nerve in her body quivering, every instinct screaming to turn away. "Face the darkness, Lisa," the shadows whispered, swarming closer, smothering the light. Karen's form flickered erratically, her laughter morphing into groans that echoed with the torment of unspeakable pain. As the chill pressed against her skin, Lisa could feel the weight of countless eyes watching from the edges of the dark, their gazes laced with longing, fear, and despair. With a final, shuddering breath, she stepped into the rift. Reality twisted as the world around her dissolved. Bright light fell away into blackness, and she tumbled through a void that felt alive, swirling with memories she had locked away. Each one whispered to her, fragments barely audible over the chaos of sound, snatches of laughter, cries for help, the soft ticking of an unseen clock. When the chaos settled, she found herself standing in a cold, dimly lit room. The air was thick, almost viscous, like wading through water. Shadows danced in the corners, whispering her name in hellish harmony. "Welcome home, Lisa." The shadows melted away to reveal a large, ornate mirror framed in tarnished silver. Its surface rippled like disturbed water, reflecting not just her face, but flickers of events she had long buried. Her fingers traced the edges, heart racing as the mirror darkened, shifting to show her father's anguished face, desperately reaching out, as though trapped within the glass itself. "Dad!" Lisa cried out, her voice raw with desperation. Yet the reflection shifted, transforming into grotesque versions of the moments she had hidden. A birthday party gone hauntingly wrong. She saw herself, a terrified child hiding beneath the table, frozen in dread as the lights flickered and shadows stretched and twisted. She remembered the corner where that figure had lurked, an amorphous shape blending in with the wall. No! No! I don't want to see this! Lisa turned away, but the room responded, pulling her back, anchoring her where she stood. Let me go! Don't you see? Karen's voice echoed all around her, sending chills racing down her spine. You cannot escape what you've buried. This is your past. It is your truth. As the shadows morphed into figures from her memories, friends, family, echoes of laughter, Lisa's heart raced. She was drowning in the weight of their expressions, their fear, their despair. I didn't mean to. I was just a kid, she screamed, voice breaking. I didn't know. But the room loomed closer, pressing her against the depths of her own psyche. Each memory that flashed before her was tinged with horror. Face it, Lisa, a soft, sorrowful voice whispered from the depths. You have to understand. Then silence shattered as the mirror cracked, splintering reflections and scattering the darkness. With each shattering piece, Lisa felt their pain invade her own heart, a debilitating weight coursed through her, heavy and unrelenting. The shards showed her friends who had vanished, lives interrupted by tragedy and darkness, shadows that haunted every corner of her past, waiting to swallow her whole. No! I will fight! She howled, determination surging through her veins. The dark figures recoiled, and she stepped back towards the brighter shards, the pieces that still held glimmers of love, hope, and laughter. Your truth is a weapon! Lisa shouted, gripping fragments of the light amidst the fog, her pulse quickening. I will show you what strength means. Just then, a brutal force slammed against her chest, and she staggered, teetering on the brink of oblivion. The shadows roared, hungry for her fall. They swirled like hungry wolves around a lost lamb, and Lisa could feel despair clawing at her heart. Could she truly reclaim the fragments of her past? Or would she tumble deeper into their grasp, forever lost in the echoes of her own fears? She reached for the shimmering shards amid the darkness, ready to shatter the silence that threatened to consume her. What awaited her in the fractures of her memory? What would emerge to challenge her? The answer was still cloaked in shadow, looming just beyond the edge of reality. Was this the moment she would break, or rise? The moment Lisa reached for the shards, a violent tremor rattled the mirror, reverberating through the floor like a low growl. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat urging her to move faster. Darkness coiled around her, thick and suffocating, clawing for her as the room distorted, twisting into a grotesque mockery of reality. Find the truth! The voices shrieked in an unholy chorus, making her head spin. You must see it! Face what you've done! With a grim focus, Lisa gathered her resolve, diving into the shards where shapes and forms fought to break free. Every fragment was a doorway, revealing grotesque versions of memories that had haunted her since childhood. Faces she once knew morphed and writhed, mouths agape in silent screams. Each flash of clarity cut through her like a knife, revealing truths that clawed at her sanity. Lisa! Her mother's face twisted toward her, once warm and loving, now marred by grief and anger. You must remember. You cannot incur this pain anymore. The guilt felt like a shackle around her wrists, binding her to the floor. But she yanked at the chains, a fire igniting within her. She remembered the day her father had disappeared, the dark figure lurking in the background, his silhouette stretching like a nightmare. Through every crack in the mirror, she saw it again. No! She shouted, frustration clawing at her throat. I will not be your prisoner. The shadows lunged, threatening to pledge her to their dark currents. She could barely breathe, the air dense with dread, but she pushed forward, eyes locked onto the shimmering shards. Each piece radiated warmth, inviting her to dive deeper, to unearth the truth buried beneath layers of darkness. The moment she stepped through one of the clearer shards, she was thrust into a scene of the past. The dim light flickered as she stood in her childhood home, memories flooding back, happy moments turned sour by the knowledge of loss. There were laughter and balloons, but underneath it all lurked an unbearable heaviness. Do you see? A deep, gravelly voice resonated from the shadows. It was the figure from her past, the one she had done everything to forget. You did this. Your silence is why they suffered. Lisa felt her breath catch as guilt washed over her with the power of a tidal wave. No. I was just a child. I didn't know what he was doing. The air around her thickened, and she gasped, straining against the grip of despair that threatened to drag her under. It was his voice, low and dripping with malice, that she feared the most. Child or not, you are responsible for what those memories have wrought. It's time to embrace your role. Time to join them. Desperation surged in her chest, and she balled her fists. I'm not afraid of you. I took back my power. With newfound strength, Lisa turned her gaze back to the cracked mirror. She needed a way to break the cycle. The memories surged like fire, lighting the shards around her, drowning out the cold tendrils of despair. As she moved closer, the mirror shattered into 1,000 reflective pieces, each one showing fragmented realities. Some were filled with laughter, others held piercing screams. But the darkness was always there, waiting just behind the surface. Face your truth. The shadows screamed, fibers of pain interwoven in their voices, fluttering and fighting against her resolve, and then she saw it, her father, reaching for her, a desperate plea in his eyes, begging for salvation. Dad, she whispered, her heart aching as regret tore through her. Could she save him? Or was he as lost as the rest? Suddenly, a deafening crack resonated. The floor beneath her shuddered, and she felt the weight of her choices crashing down. The darkness seethed and twisted, wrapping around her legs like chains. Do you want the truth or the comfort of lies? The shadowed figure challenged, every word oozing temptation. Embrace the horror. Embrace your role. And just as the shadows lunged to engulf her, Lisa seized the last glimmer of light, preparing to confront the shadows of her own, making ready to face the terror that lay just beyond her final choice. What awaited her in the heart of the darkness? Would she emerge whole, or would remnants of her past devour her memory whole? Lisa's heart raced as she stood at the precipice of her past, shadows swirling like storms around her feet. She felt the heat of each flickering memory, the weight of anxious breaths and silent screams suffocating her resolve. But amid the chaos, a whisper ignited within her, a voice of strength, urging her forward. Face your truth, it echoed softly in her mind. Don't run. Fight. Taking a deep breath, she stepped closer to the shattered mirror, shards glimmering like diamonds beneath the pallor of the shadows. Each fragment pulsed with memories that threatened to drown her, yet also held a glimmer of hope. I'm not afraid, she declared, though her voice wavered. I won't let you take me. As she reached out to touch the largest shard, the room trembled violently. The mirror rippled, letting loose a cascade of haunting images. There, within the fragments of deep sorrow, she glimpsed her father, vulnerable yet strong, an unwavering guardian caught between the past and present. Lisa, he called, his voice resonating through the cacophony. Don't let go. Suddenly, the shadows lashed out, morphing into tormentors of her worst memories, each face twisted in grief and anger. You abandoned us, they cried, their voices a thunderous chorus. You let fear dictate your actions. You've caused suffering. No! Lisa shouted, fists clenched. I won't accept your lies. The shadows recoiled slightly, seeming to gasp at her defiance. You are not the truth, you are my past, and I have the power to change it. With every ounce of strength, Lisa gathered the warmth from within, letting it radiate outward. The golden light flared brighter, illuminating the darkness. The shadows crackled and hissed, recoiling from her defiance. Embrace the darkness, Karen's voice rose above, venomous and commanding. You can't escape who you are. In that moment, Lisa caught sight of her father again, his expression a mixture of pain and pride. You are stronger than you know, his voice urged her. Fight for us both. Feeling the connection ignite between them, Lisa pushed through the fear. I am Lisa. I choose love over despair, she declared, stepping into the heart of the mirror, where shadows thrashed violently. As she crossed the threshold, a world of memories unfolded. Time blurred, flashing between the laughter-filled youth she once cherished and the chilling silence of tragedy. The memory of the birthday party returned, balloons floating, warm sunshine enveloping them before being tainted by the haunting figure lurking in the corner. Do you remember? Karen sneered, her voice like ice. You thought you could push it away. But it will always be a part of you. No! Lisa shouted, meeting the gaze of her childhood fear. Those memories won't control me anymore. The ethereal glow around her expanded, drowning out the shadows. As she concentrated on her father's loving face, the warmth flooded through her chest, resonating with strength and resilience. I remember the joy, I remember the lessons. I will not forget the pain, but it will not define me. The shadows howled in protest, writhing around her, but Lisa's light grew ever stronger, fierce and radiant. Piece by piece, the darkness around her began to disintegrate, revealing remnants of her past. Faces emerged, friends who had vanished, moments lost in fear before being overtaken by the glimmer of sunlight. Let go! She yelled, and with one final push, the golden light exploded, illuminating everything in its path, shattering the darkness that had held them hostage for so long. Karen let out a shriek of fury as light engulfed her, the shadows retreating violently. You think this is over? She screamed as fragments of her shadowy form evaporated into the air. Yes. Lisa shouted back, the conviction in her voice rock solid. I choose my truth. When the dust settled, the room pulsed with the vibrant light of life. From the depths of darkness, her father stood beside her, his form firm and unyielding. You did it, Lisa, he breathed, eyes bright with pride. Tears streamed down her cheeks. You fought too, Dad. We're free. The air smelled fresher, and the heaviness that had suffocated her family lifted, leaving behind only whispers of what had once been. The warmth wrapped around them a sweet, tangible reminder that love always prevails, even in the face of overwhelming fear. As Lisa looked into her father's eyes, she felt the weight of their past shift toward hope. They had faced it together, navigated shadows and darkness to emerge stronger. We'll be okay now, she promised, heart swelling with renewed strength. And together, the two walked side by side into the light, where echoes of laughter danced on the breeze, where fears faded like shadows at dawn. But before the curtain of this moment could settle, an urgent command echoed through the hearts of every reader and viewer engaged with the story. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us spread this story. Don't let this journey fade. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about what's next. And, my friends, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. The power of the community lies in your hands. Join us as we create more stories,